Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Grasshopper 94. This is from Gearbest. This is a 94mm micro drone. Got some unbranded 1104 7500 kV motors. Got an all-in-one FPV camera system here, VM2751. This is similar to the CM275T, but this one has video in and video out for the OSD, which is wired in here on the side on the flight controller, and this flight controller is the Omnibus F3 20x20 stack. We have a 4-in-1 10 amp ESC BL Heli S, and we got a LED and a micro buzzer here in the back, and this one has a JST connector for your battery. The bottom plate here is 1.5 millimeters, and the two side plates here are also 1.5 millimeters. You got a standoff here in the back and in the front that holds the two side plates on with a screw here and one here, and then you got another standoff here in the top that holds the two side plates together. So this frame does look very similar to the FullSpeed RC Ascent frame that I reviewed recently. Obviously the bottom plate is totally different, and the way the side plates are mounted are also different, but we're seeing a lot of these sort of side plate roll cage type of designs nowadays. The distance between the two side plates is about 20 millimeters, so I know some of you guys are wondering if this will be able to fit a micro swift or a micro arrow, and I think that it will. You got the screw here on the side that goes into this little TPU printed white piece of plastic here, and that is for the all-in-one camera that is zip tied to that piece of plastic, and then gives it a little bit of camera angle. But you also have some additional screw holes here on the side. There are 3 here, so you could potentially mount a micro swift or a micro arrow and take off this mounting plate for the all-in-one camera if you want to do that. So if you take a little closer look at these motors, they look awfully familiar, and it's because they look pretty much like the ones that came on the Aurora 90 and Aurora 100. And here is one that I have taken off of one of the other, I think it was an Aurora 100. And you can see here that the tops look pretty much the same. You got the E-Sheen branding over here on the side, and then this one is, I think, the same KV. It's an 1104 7500 kV. So pretty sure it's the same motor. It's just they didn't put the markings on this one for that particular company, FullSpeed RC. Of course, they don't want the E-Sheen branding on there, but they perform similarly. The ones that were in the Aurora 100 performed fine. I thought they were pretty good on 2S. So do you get a few other things in the box? You don't get any instructions, and there's no receiver. As I mentioned before, you have to find your own receiver and solder it on. If you're not into soldering, then this model probably isn't for you, but if you can handle the soldering, then you can save a little bit of money. I think that's why these ones from FullSpeed RC cost a little bit less. They don't have so many different SKUs, like one SKU for Spectrum, one for FreeSky, one for FlySky, etc., etc. You can supply your own micro receiver. If you were wondering what kind of micro receiver will work for this, I will put a link in the description to a few micro receivers that I'm using you can use them for either FreeSky, Spectrum, or FlySky, and I'll put some of those in the description so you can check those out. Not a whole lot that comes with it. You get 2 sets of props, these 5-bladed, I think these are 1.9-inch props, and they include these mounting screws. You get the battery. It's a 500 milliamp hour 50C 2S with a JST, and then you get this bag of little screws here. I think these are screws for the prop guards. If you want to use the prop guards with this model, you'll need some longer screws because otherwise the motors won't hold on to the frame. And then you got these 2, looks like battery protection plates. I think they go underneath the battery so that when you land you don't damage your battery. So that's kind of nice. So we'll go ahead and we'll weigh this now. Okay, so we'll get a weight measurement here, and I'm thinking this is probably about 50 grams. So yeah, it's a little bit heavier, about 55 grams. So that's pretty typical. I think the Ascent was around 57, 56 grams, something like that. So this is pretty similar. This frame is a little bit thinner in carbon, so I think it weighs a little bit less. And obviously the props aren't either. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the computer, and we'll see what's flashed on here. I have no idea at this point, and see if any setup is actually needed or not. A lot of these, I think the ones that are coming from FullSpeed RC are coming with Betaflight 317, so if that's the case, then probably not a whole lot was going to be needed to get this in the air. Okay, let's connect to the board, see what we've got, and it comes with Betaflight 3.1.5. I think that's going to be okay. I'd rather have it have 3.1.7, which is the latest version, but 3.1.5 should be fine. And we'll go ahead and calibrate the accelerometer. We're on a level surface here. Let's see here, and we don't have any UARTs enabled. I did connect up or solder on a receiver, a FlySky receiver, to UART3, so I'm going to enable serial RX on UART3. And it looks like D-Shot 600 is enabled out of the box. We'll turn off motor stop. And let's see what else we're going to change here. Change the receiver to serial RX. And I have an iBus receiver, so I'm going to select iBus. Okay, we have LED strip is on, leave that on. Turn off black box, there's no black box on here, or SD card. And turn on air mode, and OSD is on. And I think should be good. I don't think there's a current sensor on here, so turn that off. VBAT. Interesting is that it's pretty low, 2.8 and 3. Looks like they've did a little bit of adjustments to the stock settings, so I'm going to leave that alone. Go ahead and reboot. And let's see what we've got under failsafe. Should I change throttle to hold and change the guard time to 5? Okay, then under PID tuning, these look like default PIDs for Betaflight 3.1.5. I'll just up my super rate a little bit on the roll. And let's see here. Go ahead and I'll leave everything. Go ahead and save it. So I'll probably adjust these PIDs in the OSD a little bit later. Okay, let's check out the receiver, and it looks like that is working. I'm going to change my min and max values. And add some deadband. And then under modes, I just add one under channel or aux 1. I add a switch for arming. Okay, we'll check out the OSD, and I usually like to turn off all of this junk. Don't need any of this stuff. Don't need that. Just need the main battery voltage and the fly time. Hit save. And that ought to do it. So this is the first FPV flight, and while I was able to do acro flips line of sight without any flips of death, unfortunately when I tried to do FPV flips I got a flip of death and pretty much got it every single time. So I had to change my throttle idle speed from the default 4.5, and I moved it all the way up to 11. Grasshopper up in the air and flying without flips of death. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.